Hello everybody, it is Mikeman WBA here and welcome back to another episode of the Can't Stop Progress series. We are here with episode number 28. We are here with what should be chapter 67 but what is accidentally chapter 66 because I forgot to change it. But that's what happens when you're in super strong style. Technically a chapter doesn't change the chapter numbers in the game. Forgot to change it. My mistake. We'll fix it for the next one. But it's chapter 67 and we are live in Scotland at the Sir Matt Busby Centre in front of a sold out capacity crowd of 1,300. And as always, we kick off the show with Jim Smallman welcoming the crowd, getting us a 30 E+ to kick off the show. And not quite possibly as exciting a show as the Super Strong Style 16 final day. Still some great matches, but it's going to be hard to live up to the hype and the performance that show gave us. But we're going to try our best as we get into our first match of the night. It's an Atlas Championship match where Volta defeats James Davis in 11 minutes and 55 seconds by pinfall with a golden bomb. Volta making defence number 7 of his Atlas Championship, and that match getting us a 41D to kick off today's matches. Davis getting an in-ring performance of 35 and Volta getting a 43. I'm still saying his name different every single time. I realise I will try and fix it, but Volta, it's the same thing. Volta actually improving his performance skills, which is nice to see. And it's a decent little kick-off match for us. Following on from that, this is the qualifiers to be the Welsh participant in the Progress World Cup, which is coming up in, I think, 2 weeks. And in a decent match, Flash Morgan Webster, perhaps with the upset, defeating Mark Andrews in 13 minutes and 24 seconds by submission with a guillotine choke. So Flash Morgan Webster will join Tetsuya Naito and of course a few others. I'm not sure which ones I've revealed. I know I've revealed Naito, but Morgan Webster is in the Progress World Cup for 2018 representing Wales. Match got a 49D+, which isn't bad. Andrews getting an in-ring performance of 56 and Webster getting a 44. And Webster also improving his performance skills. So I'm very, very happy with that match. And following that, Andrews and Webster shaking hands in the ring. Just a sign of respect between the two Welshmen. And we move on. Following that match, we have a Tag Team Championship match where in a bout that had decent wrestling, but unfortunately not a lot of heat, British Strong Style defeat the Chosen Bros, Jeff Cobb and Matt Riddle, in 12 minutes and 45 seconds when Trent Seven defeats Jeff Cobb by pinfall, illegally using the ropes for leverage. So British Strong Style make defence number 2 of their Progress Tag Team titles. Trent Seven with an in-ring performance of 47, Clint Margera with a 41, Matt Riddle with a 42 and Jeff Cobb with a 36. So some decent in-ring performances all round there. Trent Seven also improving his performance skills, which is good. And a 45D match there. Chosen Bros coming close, but British Strong Style getting the retention of their titles through some dubious means. And following that, we have what I think would be quite an exciting little match. We have Al Ligero versus Leo Rush, and in a decent match, Leo Rush picks up the win, defeating Al Ligero in 13:21 by pinfall with a Dragon's Call. Ligero getting an in-ring performance of 44, Leo Rush getting a 54, so not bad. And Leo Rush building off the back of that disappointing end to his natural progression series. Of course, losing to James Drake. Had a decent little run in Super Strong Style. I think losing out to Haskins in the end, was it? I can't remember off the top of my head actually. I think it was Haskins he lost to. But a 53C- is a very good match. Unfortunately, no worker improvements from that one. Would have been nice to see Rush get an increase to his performance maybe, but wasn't to be. But another, in the end, still a good match of 53. Following that, we have a tag team number 1 contenders match between OI4K, the Christ brothers, the Hunter brothers, the Shirtlifters, Jack Sexsmith and Roy Johnson, and War Machine, Rowe and Hanson. And in a bout that had decent wrestling but little heat, War Machine pick up the win in 13 minutes and 20 seconds when Hanson pins Jake Christ following a spin kick. Unfortunately, Jake Christ and Raymond Rowe off their game. Jake Christ with a 33, Dave Christ with a 42, Lee Hunter with a 50, very impressive, Jim Hunter with a 46, Roy Johnson with a 40, Jack Sexsmith with a 41, Raymond Rowe with a 38 and Hanson with a 45. So the Hunters really getting the best performance out of that match. War Machine probably in second, then the Shirtlifters, and then OI4K. But Raymond Rowe improving his rumble skills and Roy Johnson improving his performance skills is very nice to see. And a 47D is quite good as War Machine become the number 1 contenders for the Tag Team Championship. Following that, British Strong Style coming out of the crowd from behind, attacking War Machine after their win. All 3 members of British Strong Style, so Margera 7 and Tyler Bate, beating down War Machine, standing tall. This is their company, their title bouts, and they will not let War Machine take them away from them. Following that, we have our Women's Championship match, and in a bout that had subpar wrestling and little heat, Laura Di Matteo defeats Dahlia Black and Toni Storm in 13 minutes and 26 seconds when Laura Di Matteo defeats Dahlia Black by pinfall. Laura Di Matteo making defence number 1 of her newly won women's title and carrying the match in terms of in-ring performance. Dahlia Black debuted her old school face gimmick and got a legendary rating, which is always nice to see. Unfortunately, Toni Storm sustaining a dislocated wrist, so she will be out for a couple of weeks. Dahlia Black getting an in-ring performance of 34, Toni Storm getting a 30, unfortunately very low for her, and Laura Di Matteo with a phenomenal 46. Unfortunately, due to this being on the old March database, Toni Storm very, very underrated on these mods. Obviously, in real life, just won a tournament in Stardom, I believe it was. She got to the semi-finals of the Mae Young Classic, and she's just setting the world on fire at the moment. No worker improvements, unfortunately, and a 43D for our women's match, but not too bad despite, well, rather apart from that dislocated wrist for Toni Storm. Doesn't look like it was anyone's fault. Following that, we have a decent match between Austin Aries and Mark Haskins, your Progress Super Strong Style 16 winner for 2018. And in a decent match, Mark Haskins defeats Austin Aries in 15 minutes and 1 second by submission with a sharpshooter. Austin Aries getting a disappointing 46, but Mark Haskins with a good 59. And the match overall getting a 54 C-. So Mark Haskins, your number 1 contender for the Progress World Championship, knocking off Austin Aries here, and looks like a real challenger for Travis Banks' championship. And then following the match, Haskins cutting a promo proclaiming he will be the new Progress champion when he finally gets his shot following the Progress World Cup. And we say it was against Travis Banks, but it might not be, because he is up next against another number 1 contender from Natural Progression Series. It is Lewis Girvan. He wanted his match in a standard 1-on-1, no shenanigans involved, just 1v1 against Travis Banks. And in a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Travis Banks defeats Lewis Girvan in 16 minutes and 34 seconds by pinfall with a springboard enziguri. Travis Banks making defence number 4 of his Progress Championship title. Unfortunately, visibly tiring towards the end, But the match got the crowd buzzing. Lewis Girvan picking up a 62 in-ring performance. Travis Banks getting a 56. And a 66 C+ match rating overall is very impressive. No worker improvements, unfortunately. But as we end the show, we get a 60 C overall for that show. So actually did do very well in the end. I think the last two matches kind of carried us up a little bit. Some of the previous ratings not quite as good as we would have liked, but still not bad. As we're going to make a speech, we're going to congratulate Lewis Girvan, Travis Banks and Mark Haskins. Leo Rush up there, but not quite to the level of these guys. So we're going to congratulate them. They are very happy as we sim to the next day. You may have noticed during that show that we had a couple of new movesets, potentially. I know Travis Banks has one. A couple of other people have one as well. They're just very outdated. So we've changed some things around, given people some updated finishers. As we look here, Toni Storm injured for... Let's see how long. Oh, she can work through it, so it's not too bad. Currently the Stardom Undisputed World Women's Champion. Austin Aries believes that Morgan Webster doesn't connect with the fans and we should probably write him off. But that doesn't matter because Austin Aries has now left the company. Leo Rush has had a grueling recent schedule, would like to recover, as would Lewis Girvan. That's alright, they can have a show or two off. And there's a month remaining on the contract of Damon Moser, and we will have to think about whether we want to re-sign him or not. In other news, Yuji Nagata signs for Dragon Gate, but that's okay because according to the mod maker, Dragon Gate never sign anybody from New Japan, but that would mean that they haven't signed Kenny Omega, Tetsuya Naito, Kota Ibushi, Rocky Romero, Will Ospreay, Chris Sabin and Cody Rhodes and Alex Shelley. That would mean that none of those people worked for Dragon Gate, nor would Jushin Thunder Liger. But you know, oh, and Adam Cole. Yeah, he doesn't work there either. Or Kurt Angle, I just saw there. Kurt Angle, obviously not from New Japan, but working for Dragon Gate, as you do. But that's all for this episode, guys. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you soon for night 1 of the Progress World Cup for 2018. Depending on how long that goes, might get a little double episode of both nights of the World Cup, but we'll have to see how that goes. But thank you for watching this episode, and I will see you guys soon with the next one. Goodbye.